Greetings to the viewers and listeners of Lecture 5 under the lecture series on the Vedic Big Bang by Shiv R. Pal. The topic for Lecture 5 is the concept of the time entity in the Vedic cosmology and its high resolution for measurements in the indigenous astronomy. It is remarkable that the modern developments in science and technology have enabled the measurement of time below 1 second up to zeptosecond, a zeptosecond being the trillionth of a billionth of a second. It is also remarkable that in ancient times, well beyond 5 millennia in the far antiquity of the Vedic civilization, the Vedic rishis, the sages, had measured time up to and below 1 nimesh, the Vedic time unit of nimesh being 0.1778 seconds. The question, however, remains, what techniques did they employ for such a sensitive measurement? The Lecture 5 is presented in two parts under the titles Vedic Big Bang YouTube Lecture 5 Part 1, The Time Entity in the Vedas, and Vedic Big Bang YouTube Lecture 5 Part 2, The Time Measurement in Vedic Science. Part 1 of Lecture 5 begins in the following. The nature, which is the matter and energy of the universe, together with the time and space, are the three main inert actors in the story of modern cosmology under the title Big Bang Hypothesis. This story remains only half told because the phenomenon of consciousness, Purush entity, is not a part of the story. While the consciousness is a part of the universe and inspires to begin the story in the first place, the consciousness aside, the Big Bang hypothesis is far from perfection on physics basis alone, as Professor Paul Steinhardt of Princeton University said in Scientific American, April 2011. The cracks have appeared in its logical foundations. In the following are a few brief comments on the Vedic time entity. In a World Science Festival lecture on the nature of time, premiered on YouTube on January 17, 2020, Professor Brian Greene expressed that it is hard to define time, and he cited John Wheeler's interesting definition of time. Time is nature's way of ensuring that everything does not happen all at once. This is a clever way of saying that the events in nature take place sequentially. When viewed in a philosophical reference frame, one gathers that the nature, which is the matter and energy of the universe, the material cause of the universe, is paramount in John Wheeler's definition, and the time is its subordinate, implying that time does things for nature. In the functioning universe, however, the matter is not seen controlling time. The time is an independent entity. The ancient Rishi Kanad, in his Vaisheshik Darshan, beyond 5 millennia, defines time, the Kal entity of the Vedas, in a simpler way. aparasmin param yujpachir kshipramiti kalalingani. This translates into the knowledge of younger, older, simultaneous, later, sooner are the lingas, defining symbols of Kal, the time entity. Based on my studies of the Vedas, I feel that one could go deeper into the far antiquity of the Vedic literature beyond 5 millennia and find the oldest definition of time. The fourth of the four Vedas, the Atharvaveda, has devoted a total of 15 mantras on Kal, the time entity, in two successive suktas, hymns 53 and 54 of its chapter 19. Although each mantra from these hymns takes the reader into the physics reference frame, implicitly as well as explicitly, I feel that the definition of time, Kal, is unique and attractive in the Atharvaveda mantra 19/54/3. Kalo hai bhutam bhavyam cha putro ajanayat pura kalad rachah sambhavan yajuhu kalad jayat. The translation and transliteration of the mantra with word analysis is deferred to this author's book entitled The Vedic Big Bang, a new cosmology scenario revealed in the ancient Veda mantras of India by Shiv R. Pal. The finalized translation of the mantra is Kal the sun is its own father, the past, and will be born as its own son, the future. Richas, the knowledge bestowing mantras, are born out of Kal, and Yaju, the knowledge of righteous actions, is born out of Kal. Atharveda's mantra 19/54/3. Atharveda's 15 mantras on time, Kal, present large number of properties of time. That it is in three categories, past, present, future, that it pervades through the universe, that the Sapt Rashmi, the dynamic 7 rays of the sun, ride on Kal, and so on. This reveals the thoroughness of the ancient rishis, sages, in dealing with the complex subjects in cosmology such as consciousness, Purush Tattva, nature, Prakriti, space, Akash, time, Kal. Expounding a phenomenon with a unique parable, as in this mantra, wherein all three time segments do not coexist at the same time, but the middle creates the past and the future, is dexterous and indicative of a continuum. Throughout the Vedas, Upanishads and the Darshans, the present is said to be Ati Sukshma, extremely minute in duration, incomprehensible. The mantras and sutras assign the attribute of ubiquity to Kal, and that it is an Ajar entity, one that never grows old. The time entity in the terminology of the Vedic philosophy is also a Nitya entity, ever existing, with no cause for its creation. The Surya Siddhant, an ancient book on practical astronomy, known in the Western astronomy as the Sun Principle, goes deeper into the subject of time. It elaborates in its first chapter as time is in two classes. First, The cause of creation and dissolution is unknowable, and the second is knowable. The second class is in two categories. One is Murt, comprehensible and measurable, and the other is Sukshma, immeasurably minute. Surya Siddhant, Chapter 1, 10th Shloka. It is remarkable that the ancient rishis recognized the existence of the invisible yet real, all-pervading entities, time Kal and space Akash, as the unconsumed general causes, and the nature as the material cause of the universe. The modern Big Bang hypothesis is said to give birth to the time entity at t equal to 0, 13.8 billion years ago, without telling what mechanism created the time. The quantum mechanics could not be the mechanism to create time. All major entities and processes partaking in the Vedic advent of the universe are defined and discussed in Chapter 5 of this author's book entitled The Vedic Big Bang, a New Cosmology Scenario Revealed in the Ancient Veda Mantras of India by Shevar Pal. To order the book, copy and paste the link on the Amazon website. For Volume 1, this is the link. For Volume 2, black and white, this is the link. And for Volume 2 with full color interior, this is the link. Both volumes in ebook format are also available from the same website. Part 2 of Lecture 5 deals with the practical aspect of the time measurement. Two main points are emphasized. A. The sophistication in the ancient Vedic time scale, time division of the ancient Aryans. B. The mind-boggling accuracy in the ancient physics experiment measuring time in sub-second time regime below 1/6 of a second. For Part 2, please load the video Vedic Big Bang YT Lecture 5 Part 2, Time Measurement in Vedic Science. Thank you.